All right, so today we're going to talk about reads from a right-hander. We've talked about it a little bit before, but we're going to start from the very basic beginning. The first one would be, we start at the top, we start with a head guy, okay? If his head goes down, he's going to the plate. His head comes up, he's going to first. Very simple, it's a head guy, we start at the top. The next one's going to be a shoulder guy. So if I were throwing a home plate here, and I come set, if my front shoulder drops down, you read the tip of my shoulder. If it drops down and goes in, it's going to the plate. If it opens up, he's coming to first. Very simple. When we talk about these reads, guys, it's important that you understand all of them and know how they work so that you can quickly identify what those are in a game. Because when we look at a read, that's all we look at. We don't look at basement windows. We don't look at all the other stuff that many of you guys have been taught. We want to focus in, have tunnel vision just on that read in that sense. We talk about our head, we talk about the shoulder. Next one's going to be an elbow guy. There was a guy that was over at Lassiter High School, Michael Palzone. Man, he was good. He was 88 to 90. In high school, he was nearly unhittable. He was 88 to 90, had a massive 12 to 6 curveball, went to University of Georgia. Had a decent career there. All right, but when we played him in high school, he was one of those guys that you were lucky if you got on first base. And so we played him one time, played him a lot of times. We beat him one of the last times we ever faced him. So later, he paid us probably our best compliment, and he said, "Coach, I hated playing your teams because when you guys got on, I knew you were going to run. There was nothing I could do." And I was like, "Well, we rarely got on, Michael, so that wasn't that big a deal." And he said, what were you doing, and how were you able to steal so many bases on me? I was like, "Well, he was what we call an elbow guy because he had a big 12 to 6 curveball. So his first movement, he would go up with his elbow. So before he would do anything else, he would come set and he would lift his hand so his elbow would come up. Then he would come way back down so he could get on top of the 12 to 6 curveball. So we read his elbow. As soon as his elbow came up, we were gone. I don't care what else happened, we were gone. If his elbow came back, he was coming to first. So this is what it would look like from first. Elbow up, going to home. Elbow back is coming to first. That's the only thing that we keyed on. Okay, the next one is going to be a hip read. I want you to come up here so I can see you. Because first, if you got on baseball pants, it'll be a little easier. On all baseball pants, you're going to have either insignia like a logo. You're going to have a belt loop. You're going to have a pocket with a button. On what we talk about a hip guy, if his hips turn in, like he's loading his hips, so it look like this. Guy comes set and he really loads his lower half. If this belt buckle or this insignia turns away from me, he's going to the plate. If it starts to move to the right or open at all, he's coming to first. Okay, that's called a hip guy. The next one is, we call it a loader. So for example, all I would do is look at, you would come set, put your hands together like your pitcher, and you would watch the front side of his hip. If it goes back like this, he's going to the plate, because this is what happens. So the guy comes set, they come set with their feet 50-50, and then they rock back to go to the plate to kind of load up their lower half to throw. The other way is if I'm just reading the front side of his hip and it starts to disappear on me, he's coming back to first. Okay, so that's a loader. But the last one is going to be middle infielders are notorious for this. Where they come set, and I call them like a top heavy or they're a front foot thrower. So they come set, and they start to lean before they go. So in this case, again, I will watch the front side of his pants, and as he comes set and you see that guy starting to lean, we're off to the races. Thank you, sir. Very good. So the way that works is we start from the top. We have a head, shoulder, elbow. We got a hip guy that loads it. We got a hip guy that kind of loads it back. We got a first one will be a rotational. Then we got a loader. Then we have a leaner. So head, shoulder, elbow. Rotational guy, he loads up his hips. Then we got a leaner, that's 6. All right, the last two are, you probably have heard, but they're a little harder to get. You can't just see those with your eyes. You have to kind of watch him do it once or twice. And that's going to be a timing guy. A timing guy is a guy that comes set and goes 1 1,000, 2 1,000 pitch. 1 1,000, 2 1,000 pitch. You start to kind of notice that he's always in that same timing and rhythm. Okay, he's a guy, you have to watch him do that a couple times to get a feel for that. And then the very last one is going to be what we call a head guy. A head guy is typically what you see at second base, where the guy comes set, he looks once, he goes to the plate. He comes set, he looks once, he goes to the plate. All right, that's a head guy. So from the very, very start, we have a looker would be the last one. So we have a head guy, head down, going to the plate, head up, going to first, right? Next one is shoulder. Shoulder drops in, he's going to the plate. shoulder opens up, he's going to first. Third one, we talk about kind of a loader with our lower half. If you see that belt loop or belt buckle kind of start to roll in, he's loading his hips, he's going to play. If it starts to open back to you, he's coming to first. Fourth one is going to be the guy that loads his lower half and he rocks back. Rocks back. So he comes set, rocks back, he's going to the play. If that front hip disappears on you, he's coming to first. So all I'm doing is watching that line right there. That's where he's going. Okay, then the last one, when it comes to lower half, is going to be the leaner. He's kind of like a middle infielder type. Typically, middle to the late innings, you got to have a guy that's a really good infielder that also pitches. He's going to be a reliever, and you'll see, because all game long, he's been throwing like this. Then he gets to the mound, and he has to come set and think about loading his lower half. More than likely, he's going to come set, lean, and go. As soon as you see him lean, we're gone. He hasn't moved his elbow, he hasn't moved his head, he hasn't done anything. All he's done is done that. As soon as he makes that small commitment there, we're gone. We're gone. Last two are timing, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, and then the next one's going to be a looker. Looks once, looks twice, looks 3 times, but he's doing the same thing every single time. Okay, so those are your 8 different reads on the right hand. Okay, so now we have the 8 reads. The last portion of this, let's talk about what does it mean, the definition of getting a good jump. With my older teams, I never tell my teams to steal. Never. I've never told a person to steal maybe 10 times in 10 years. Maybe 10 times. And I'll tell you what it is. For 10 years, that's been my steal sign. We act like we change it, and I let them think that they move them or whatever, and that's been my steal sign for 10 years. And I've given it, Coach Harris, between both of us, we maybe have given it 10, 20 times in 10 years. We give green lights. And a green light means is that you have the green light to steal, but you have to understand and know what a good jump means, okay? The definition of getting a good jump in our book is I want your back foot to hit the ground before the pitcher's front foot hits the ground. Many times, if you go with our progression system properly, you should be 2 to 3 steps in before the pitcher's front foot hits the ground. Because what happens, especially at younger age groups, and really the older age groups alike, you see the guy that throws really hard and he wants to go, and, you know, he wants to throw the ever-living mess out of him. And hopefully we get on that guy, but usually he's going to be an easier guy to steal. The guys that are typically harder to steal off of are usually the smaller guys, because especially the younger age groups, they're quick to the plate. Or at the older age groups, the guys that have shorter arm actions in that they get rid of the ball quickly. All right, the older age groups, we're looking for a 0.9 to a 1-1. If a guy's a 1-1 to the plate and the catcher is 2-0 to second, you throw out Ricky Henderson, the best base stealer of all time, by 3 feet. Okay, that's how important the numbers are of this. So that's why we get away from what many of you guys have been talked to and taught to this point as far as basement windows. 8 reads, real quick. Head, shoulder, elbow. We're talking hip with a rotational or kind of a load up. Then we got a loader, then we got a leaner, timing, and look. Okay? Last thing, definition of a good jump, my back foot hits the ground before the pitcher's front foot hits the ground. Got it? Outstanding job, guys.